Polar night. One of the crew announces he is walking home. The nearest human being is 1,000 kilometers away. Their ship is frozen into the Antarctic ice. It has not moved for 13 months. 19 men. No radio, no help. Nobody is coming. By midwinter, scurvy has the crew. One man is dead. The captain writes his will. So does his second. Another man stops recognizing the people around him. No one had ever survived an Antarctic winter. Nobody knew if it was possible. Of the 19, one died. The rest came home. Because aboard was a doctor who knew something nobody believed. And what he made them do looked like cruelty. They fought him. The captain banned his treatment outright. A winter that did not kill with cold. And the man who understood why. August 1897. A converted whaler leaves Antwerp, the Belgica. Adrien de Gerlache wants his country in the history books. Funding was refused for years. He raised it by public subscription. She is no icebreaker, an old whaler, hastily reinforced. The crew comes from across Europe. Half have never seen ice. On paper, a scientific expedition. The science gets done at a price. The first mate is a 25-year-old Norwegian, Roald Amundsen. In 13 years, he will stand first at the South Pole. The ship's doctor, Frederick Cook, has already wintered in ice. Nobody else has. 6 years earlier, Cook was expedition surgeon in Greenland. He didn't treat the Inuit, he watched them. They ate meat raw, never boiled, never salted, and never got scurvy. Europeans carried salt pork and tins, and kept dying of scurvy. Medicine blamed infection or bad supplies, never the plate. The word vitamin did not exist yet, but Cook saw the connection. He wrote the rest down, how they dressed, how they kept rhythm. One difference, people had lived in the Arctic for millennia. Nobody had ever lived in Antarctica. There was no one to copy. Back home, they laughed. A physician prescribing the habits of savages. He packed the notebook anyway. It becomes the only thing that matters. January. The Belgica charts new islands. Everything is going well. They haul up life from seas that nobody has catalogued. Then a gale takes a young sailor over the side. They throw a line. He holds it. Then his hands fail. The first death comes before the real trouble starts. They are behind schedule. The sane move is to turn north. De Gerlache goes further south instead, into the pack ice. Behind them, the road closes. Within days, the Belgica stops. The ice holds her like a fist. They saw, they blast, they haul. Nothing moves. At night, the flows right up into walls. The hull screams. The stores were counted for a summer, not a winter. Open water lies 400 kilometers north. Unreachable. They are not sailing now, they are drifting. On the 17th of May, the sun sets. For 70 days. Polar night is not an evening. It is darkness with no edges. Conversation goes first. Men stop answering each other. Then sleep breaks. Some go 3 days without it. Time stops meaning anything. Morning and night are the same. Petty fights start. Then nobody has energy for those either. The work continues. Readings every hour, all winter, around the clock. Then scurvy, swelling, weakness, bleeding gums, old wounds reopening. Cook finds the same thing in every man. The pulse is wrong. He names it polar anemia. It is moving through everyone. Worst hit is Emile Danko. He was born with a bad heart. On the 5th of June, Danko dies. They lower him through the ice. There is nowhere else. Every man understands. He was the first, not the last. Adam Tollefson becomes certain the crew intends to kill him. He walks off into the dark. They bring him back. He goes again. One man loses his hearing. Another loses his speech. Even the ship's cat dies. the one thing that amused them. Cook writes something sharper than a diagnosis. They have stopped wanting anything. In July, both commanders go down and write their wills. Command passes to whoever is still standing, the doctor and the mate. And then Cook does what nobody in Antarctica had done. He goes onto the ice and takes seals and penguins. Then he puts that meat on the crew's table, almost raw, barely touched by fire. Nothing more. They refuse. It smells of fish and oil. De Gerlache bans penguin from his table. He collapses first. Cook goes to Amundsen instead. Amundsen eats his portion. The others follow. Within weeks, the swelling drops. The pulse is steady. The reason surfaces decades later. Raw meat carries vitamin C. Cooking destroys it. That is why the others died anyway. The second prescription is stranger. He sits them before open fire, stripped, for hours, every day. They call it the baking treatment. He cannot explain it. He only sees the men talking again. A century later, this is called light therapy. Third, nobody lies down. A walk, a routine, a daily task. Nothing heroic, meat, light, and a schedule. That was enough. Meanwhile, Cook and Amundsen train on the ice with sledges. In case she never gets out, they prepare to walk. On the 22nd of July, the sun returns. But the ice stays. Summer comes and does not break it. November, December, January. A year without moving. Cook spots a lead a few hundred meters off and proposes something insane. Cut a canal to it, by hand, saws and crowbars. 19 men against 2 meters of ice. They saw for a month. Every day, without a break. Every block has to be hauled out by hand. And the canal opens. Hours later, the ice shifts and closes it again. A month of work for nothing. All they can do is wait for 2 more weeks. In mid-March, the ice opens by itself. They reach water. The voyage home takes months. She leaks. The crew is spent. 13 months in the ice. 18 of 19 come home. In November, Antwerp is waiting. The expedition is called a triumph. And it is one. The first year-round records ever taken in Antarctica. But Amundsen puts it plainly. Cook saved that expedition, everyone on it. And he takes what the ice taught him. Meat, furs, routine. 13 years later, he reaches the pole and brings everyone home. Cook came home a hero. Then his story goes downhill. In 1909, he claimed the North Pole. He produced no proof. The claim was ruled unproven. Later, he was tried over an oil scheme and imprisoned. The man who saved 18 lives is remembered as a liar. Tollefsen never recovered. He died in an asylum. What saved them was not will and not faith. It was a notebook filled in by a watching doctor. Antarctic winter does not kill with cold. It kills by making a man stop wanting. If stories about unbreakable people belong on your screen, subscribe.